A self-described streetologist and recovering addict who's devoted his life to helping save users caught in the grip of addiction.
The Texas basketball team will welcome one of the top teams in the country to the Irwin Center tomorrow. The Horns hosting 8th-ranked Texas Tech. Karina, Charles Dickens would have loved this election night. It's a tale of two chambers. You've got the House, you've got the Senate. Usually those things don't split that much in a midterm, but that's what's happening tonight, and that's what we expected. Let's start with the House.
Thanks so much for joining us on Spectrum News. I'm Meg Bonacorsi. Here's Ed,
and I'm Ed Greenberger.
sidekick.
All right, let's bring Mary in because this isn't going very well so far. Mary, there you are. Austin restaurants are teaming up with Nickel City to serve Simpsons-inspired food there, including a Krusty Burger.
Hey! No, I love burgers!
The Westlake High School community will be glued to the TV Saturday night. That's because former Westlake greats Drew Brees and Nick Foles will battle it out in the NFL playoffs. One of the most interesting Austin City Council races comes to an end tonight. The runoff in District 3 has been one of the most heated even before November. Our Carlos Garcia joining us live from City Hall. Carlos, why is this race different? If you thumbed through the pages of American history, you wouldn't be able to find a life, a man, a woman who gave so much of himself in so many different ways to his country. Kendrex White was accused of killing freshman Harrison Brown and injuring others during a stabbing spree on campus last year. Our Rena Diamante was inside the courtroom today. She joins us live. Rena, not a verdict you see every day here. We're gonna have some fun here, right? Talking about how you say it's hot in Southern.
That's right.
Yeah.
How do you say?
Well, I don't know, so I had to ask my wife, who was born and kind of grew up in eastern Tennessee.
Oh,
all right, you ready?
Okay.
It's hotter than blue blazes.
Oh, blue blazes.
It's hotter than blue blazes.
Is it hotter than blue blazes?
Yep, that's eastern Tennessee. Hotter than blue blazes. Instant Replay Review was born in 1986 when the NFL started it, and ever since it's been slowing games down and generally infuriating sports fans. Life and sports aren't played in slow motion, they're played at full speed. You know what happens when you slow everything down to examine it frame by frame? This happens. This is an actual screenshot from a recent newscast we did. Did you know I made this face on the air? Here's another one. Do you think I would have ever gotten this job or any job if people knew I made faces like this on TV? The point is, it's time to stop treating sports like every game is the Zapruder film.
Controversy, rippling like the flag. Around the flag, an NFL quarterback makes a gesture, starts a movement, lights a fuse.
Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a bitch off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Nate Boyer couldn't fathom why his favorite team's quarterback, Colin Kaepernick, chose to sit during the national anthem last August.
I was angry and hurt, at first to see Colin sitting because I didn't understand why. And
that anger, born of service to his country, 6 years in the Army, a Green Beret, a man who makes the impossible possible.
No is one of my favorite words. Proving people wrong is like become an obsession of mine. And
after the Army, Boyer defying no again, not on the battlefield, on a football field. Enrolling at the University of Texas, walking on to the Longhorns, even though he was too short, too slow, and had never played football in his life.
Scrambled to find a way on the field via long snapping, the thankless job that nobody wants to do.
It seemed nobody wanted to defend Kaepernick for sitting during the anthem, certainly in the military, and certainly not Boyer. But he did want Kaepernick to know how his actions affected veterans.
So I wrote an open letter, and it was basically just as if you were sitting, as if Colin was sitting right where you're sitting, and I had, 5 minutes to tell him a little bit about me and, how I'm a fan of his and how I know this isn't about the troops and, it's not about hating America, but I do want to try to understand. I want to try to work together because I want to see you stand again and stand because you feel the same way that I feel about, our country.
The Army Times published that letter. Kaepernick read it and invited Boyer to meet with him in San Diego.
We talked more about, how people in my community were reacting to this. What else can you do? Because sitting isolated like that, to me, looks like you don't care.
But Kaepernick did care. Enough to spend 2 hours with Boyer. They talked, listened, and worked something out.
You know, we found a compromise or a middle ground or whatever you want to call it, where, you know, he would kneel alongside his teammates that night for the anthem, and I told him I'd stand next to him if he did that.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light?
It was Boyer's idea. Yes, it was a military man, a former Green Beret, who asked Colin Kaepernick to kneel for the national anthem.
Whose broad stripes and bright stars.
People take a knee to pray, you know, people take a knee. We take a knee in front of one of our fallen service members, you know, grave to pay our respects. I think it's more respectful. Of course, that's just my opinion.
Some of Boyer's fellow veterans share that opinion.
Colin listened. He heard that, and that's the point, is that this is a conversation. He's not just trying to disrespect the country, you know, and he's definitely not disrespecting the troops. I think for him it has nothing to do with that.
It's his right to protest. We serve in the military to preserve the rights of the citizens, okay? And we serve in the military to protect the Constitution of the United States.
But for other veterans, especially combat vets,
United States Marine Corps Infantry.
8 years, Marine Corps.
Recon Marine, 1998.
In the United States Navy as a Navy SEAL.
kneeling for the anthem, that they won't stand for.
I mean, I'd like him to apologize for everybody, to the country for doing that, to the flag and to the anthem.
The consequences of his protest is the disgrace and disrespect of a symbol that represents freedom and unity and all the men that have fought and men and women who fought and died to retain the greatness that America truly has and has always had.
The downside of that is a lot of people look at me and blame me for these protests now.
And Boyer's not interested in playing the blame game. He says it's not a game at all.
I've had so many people say, pick a side. You have to take a side. Like, no, this isn't something to win or lose, you know. We gotta do better.